Imagine a life where no matter what happens, chaos, uncertainty, conflict, or pain, your mind remains calm, clear, and unshaken. This book is not about escaping problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about mastering the art of inner stillness while living fully in a world that constantly moves. The journey to a calm mind begins with awareness, the awareness that everything starts and ends within you. Before you can train your mind to be calm, you must first understand it, for the mind is both the creator of chaos and the birthplace of peace. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a vast sky. Some days the sky is clear, still, and bright. Other days it is filled with thunder, storms, and clouds racing across the horizon. Most people spend their entire lives chasing clouds, reacting to every gust of wind, never realizing that behind the clouds the sky never changes. The same is true for you. Beneath your thoughts, beneath your fears, beneath your doubts, there exists an unshakable stillness, the part of you that is forever calm. This chapter is not about forcing silence into your mind. It is about recognizing the deeper truth that silence already lives there. You have simply forgotten how to listen to it. Your thoughts are not enemies. They are waves passing through the ocean of your awareness. The problem arises when you believe you are the wave, tossed around by every current of emotion and circumstance. But you are not the wave. You are the ocean itself, vast and still beneath the surface. The first step toward mental calmness is to stop identifying with every thought that passes by. Let them come. Let them go. Observe them as if you were watching clouds drift across the sky. When you start observing instead of reacting, the grip of the mind begins to loosen. You realize that the mind is a servant, not a master. And like any servant, it performs best when guided with kindness, patience, and discipline. Every thought you think creates an echo inside you. If that echo is filled with fear, judgment, or resentment, it builds noise. If it is filled with compassion, understanding, or acceptance, it builds harmony. Calmness is not the absence of thought, but the quality of your relationship with thought. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf them. The calm mind does not avoid challenges. It moves through them gracefully, anchored in awareness. In every moment of your day, you are given countless opportunities to train this awareness. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when plans fail, when a loved one disappoints you, these are not interruptions to your peace. They are invitations to practice it. Each situation whispers the same question: can you remain calm now? The answer is not found in pretending to be unaffected or suppressing emotion. True calmness is strength with softness. It is the ability to feel fully yet not be consumed by what you feel. When anger rises, you acknowledge it, breathe through it, and allow it to pass. When sadness appears, you sit with it, understand it, and let it teach you. Every emotion has a message, and when you listen without judgment, the message becomes clear, and peace returns on its own. Training your mind is not a one-time act, it is a daily practice. Just as a musician must tune their instrument before every performance, you must tune your mind before every day. This tuning comes through awareness, through quiet moments of reflection, and through conscious breathing. The breath is your bridge between body and mind, between reaction and response. When your breath is shallow and fast, your mind becomes restless. When your breath is deep and steady, your mind begins to calm. So begin with the simplest practice. Breathe consciously. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. Let it remind you that you are alive, that you are here, that this moment is enough. Each breath is a soft whisper of peace. You don't need to wait for the world to calm down. You can calm yourself right now, one breath at a time. The secret is not to fight the mind, but to understand it. The more you fight, the louder it becomes. The more you accept, the quieter it gets. Acceptance is not surrender. It is alignment with reality. When you stop wishing that things were different, your energy is free to deal with what actually is. You stop wasting strength on resistance and start building clarity through presence. Calmness begins when you stop arguing with life and start flowing with it. The river does not resist the rocks in its path. It moves around them, finding a new way forward. You too must learn to flow. In calmness, you will find wisdom. In wisdom, you will find freedom. And in freedom, you will discover that peace is not a destination. It is your natural state. From this moment onward, let this understanding become your foundation, your kaka. Every chapter that follows will build upon this truth, That peace is within you, waiting to be uncovered. When the noise of the mind begins to fade, when the waves of emotion lose their force, what remains is clarity, a quiet strength that does not depend on circumstance. You will face storms, yes, but you will no longer be the storm. You will be the stillness watching the storm pass. Remember this always. You are not here to control everything around you. You are here to master everything within you. Calmness is not something you acquire, it is something you awaken. Beneath every restless thought, beneath every anxious feeling, there is a center of stillness inside you. Touch it, trust it. Train your mind to return there, again and again, until calmness becomes not just your reaction, but your way of life. This is where your journey begins. Not by changing the world outside, but by discovering the peace that has always lived within. Before you can train your mind to be calm, you must first understand how it works, because the mind is like a restless river, always moving, always searching for something to hold on to. It jumps from one thought to another, from one memory to the next, never satisfied, never still. To live with peace, you must learn the language of your own mind, to see its patterns, its habits, its fears, and its desires. Most people live their entire lives as prisoners of their thoughts, believing every story the mind tells, reacting to every emotion that rises like a wave. But you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. When you begin to understand this truth, you unlock the first door to calmness. The mind is a tool, beautiful, powerful, and creative, but only if you are the one using it. When the mind uses you, life becomes noise. When you use the mind consciously, life becomes clarity. So pause and observe. How many of your thoughts are truly yours, and how many are just echoes of fear, expectation, or past experience? You will notice that much of your mental noise is recycled. The same worries repeated in different forms, the same fears wearing new faces. The mind loves repetition because repetition feels safe. But safety is not the same as peace. Peace comes when you see the game of the mind for what it is, a cycle of reactions that you no longer need to be caught in. Every thought triggers an emotion, and every emotion feeds more thought. It's a loop. Thought creates feeling. Feeling strengthens thought, and soon you are trapped in a storm you did not intend to enter. The key is awareness. Awareness breaks the loop. When you become aware that you are thinking, you are no longer inside the thought you are watching. That moment of awareness is a miracle. It is the birth of freedom. You may still feel the emotion, but you will not drown in it. You may still hear the thought, but it will no longer control you. Awareness turns reaction into reflection. It gives you space, and in that space, calmness is born. The problem is that the mind resists stillness. It feeds on movement, on problems to solve, on things to fix. It is not evil. It's simply designed for survival. For thousands of years, the human mind evolved to look for danger, to anticipate threats, to keep you safe. But the modern world has changed. While the ancient mind still reacts to every notification, every opinion, every uncertainty as if it were a wild animal in the forest. You cannot stop the mind from thinking, but you can teach it to think differently. You can teach it that not every thought deserves your attention, not every feeling deserves your reaction, and not every problem needs to be solved immediately. To understand your mind, watch it like a scientist watches an experiment, with curiosity, not judgment. When anger arises, notice how it feels in your body, how your breath changes, how your thoughts begin to race. Do not say, "I am angry." Say, "Anger is arising." That small change in language shifts your perspective from identification to observation. You are no longer lost in the emotion, you are witnessing it. This simple shift can transform your life, because the one who observes cannot be overwhelmed. The one who observes remains calm. Try this with every emotion: fear, sadness, stress, jealousy, excitement, even joy. Notice how each one comes, stays for a while, and then leaves. Nothing lasts forever. The mind creates the illusion that emotions are permanent, but they are not. They are visitors, not owners. When you understand this, you stop fighting them. You welcome them, you learn from them, and you let them go. That is how the mind becomes your student, not your master. Understanding your mind also means understanding its habits. The mind loves to wander into the past, into the future, into what if and a should haves. It spends very little time in the present moment. The past gives it stories to replay, the future gives it worries to build. At the present is silent, and silence feels uncomfortable to an untrained mind. yet it is only in the present that peace exists. Think about it. Can you be calm yesterday? Can you be calm tomorrow? No. Calmness can only be practiced now in this breath, in this moment. The mind will try to pull you away from now, but every time you return, you strengthen your awareness. You train your focus like a muscle that grows stronger with repetition. And soon what once felt like effort becomes natural. You begin to live consciously aware of your thoughts, aware of your emotions, aware of your reactions. This awareness is not cold or detached. It is warm, gentle, and compassionate. You learn to understand your mind the way a parent understands a restless child. With patience, you no longer yell at it for wandering. You simply guide it back again and again until it learns to rest. Understanding the mind also means forgiving it. It is not wrong for your mind to be noisy. It is simply doing what it has been trained to do. For years, it has been fed with anxiety, comparison, and rush. You cannot expect silence overnight. Calmness is not an instant transformation. It is a slow awakening. The more you understand your mind, the less you judge it. The less you judge it, the more it trusts you. And when the mind begins to trust you, it begins to listen. It becomes a friend instead of a fighter. This is the beginning of mastery. You will notice moments when your old patterns return, when the noise gets loud again, when emotions pull you back into reaction. Do not be discouraged. Every return to awareness, no matter how small, is progress. The ocean of your mind cannot stay stormy forever. With each breath, with each observation, the waves soften and the stillness beneath begins to appear. So remember this truth. The mind is not something to conquer, but something to understand. When you understand it, you stop fighting it. And when you stop fighting it, calmness naturally rises. Just as the sun reveals itself when the clouds pass, peace reveals itself when understanding dawns. From this chapter forward, let your goal be not to silence the mind, but to know it so deeply that it no longer controls you. Watch it, learn from it, thank it for its effort to protect you, and then gently guide it home, back to the present, back to the breath, back to peace. Because only when you understand your mind can you truly train it, and only when you train it can you be calm in every situation. Calmness is not the absence of noise or conflict. It is the art of remaining steady within it. Life will never stop presenting challenges, and peace is not found in escaping them, but in learning to walk through them with grace. Every moment of tension, every argument, every disappointment carries within it a lesson, an opportunity to test the strength of your inner balance. Most people spend their lives trying to control the outside world. Other people's behavior, unexpected situations, changing circumstances. But the truth is, you will never control everything around you. The only real control you have is over your reaction. That is the essence of calmness. Not to remove the storm, but to stop letting it control your emotions. There is a saying that peace is not found when there is no noise, but when the noise no longer disturbs you. To reach that state, you must begin to see life differently. When a situation upsets you, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every difficult person, every obstacle, every unexpected event is a teacher disguised in discomfort. The untrained mind reacts instantly, with anger, fear, or frustration, but the trained mind pauses, breathes, and responds with clarity. That pause, that moment of awareness before reaction, is the seed of calmness. When you practice that pause, even once a day, you begin to change the rhythm of your entire being. The mind loves speed. It wants to react immediately. It feeds on emotion, on being right, on being in control. But calmness requires slowing down, taking a breath before acting, letting silence enter the space between what happens and how you choose to respond. Think of that silence as your inner sanctuary. It is the space where wisdom lives. When you rush to react, you act from emotion. When you pause, you act from awareness. That single difference can transform chaos into clarity. Remember, calmness is not weakness, it is power under control. It is the strength to stay soft when the world becomes hard, the courage to listen when others shout, the patience to wait when everything urges you to hurry. Calmness is mastery over the self, and the self is the most difficult thing in the world to master. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy. True strength appears only when life tests you. When people misunderstand you, when plans fall apart, when fear whispers in your ear. Those are the moments that reveal your training. A calm mind sees clearly, while a restless mind sees through distortion. When you are calm, decisions become wiser, words become kinder, and actions become more purposeful. To develop this kind of calmness, you must first learn to recognize your triggers. Notice what disturbs your peace the fastest. Is it someone's words, someone's silence, the fear of losing control, or the discomfort of uncertainty? Every trigger points to an area within you that needs healing. Calmness is not about avoiding triggers, but learning from them. The next time you feel your heart racing or your mind rushing into defense, stop for a moment and observe what is truly happening inside you. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What am I protecting? Often beneath anger lies fear. Beneath frustration lies a lack of control. Beneath sadness lies attachment. When you look deeply, you begin to see that your reactions are not about the world, but about your relationship with it. This awareness transforms your emotions from enemies into gods. You begin to see that every reaction is a message from within, asking for understanding. When you listen instead of resist, calmness slowly takes root. There will be times when you fail, when you react before you can catch yourself, when your emotions overpower your awareness. Do not let these moments discourage you. They are part of the training. Just as a student falls while learning to walk, you will fall while learning calmness. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. Each time you return to awareness after losing it, you strengthen your inner discipline. Each time you choose silence over argument, patience over irritation, understanding over judgment, you polish the mirror of your mind. Calmness grows in repetition, not in theory. You cannot read your way into peace. You must practice it. Every argument you avoid, every deep breath you take in a tense moment, every act of kindness when you are tempted to be harsh, all of it builds the muscle of calmness. One of the greatest secrets of a calm mind is acceptance. To accept does not mean to give up or to tolerate injustice. It means to see reality as it is without resistance. When something happens that you cannot change, fighting it only multiplies your suffering. Acceptance brings clarity. Clarity brings calm. When you accept the present moment, even if it is unpleasant, you stop wasting energy on denial and start focusing on action. Calmness is born from acceptance because acceptance frees you from inner conflict. The moment you stop saying, "This shouldn't be happening," your mind begins to relax. Life is not always fair, but it is always teaching. Sometimes calmness means standing still. Other times it means walking forward slowly, but it never means running from what is. As you move through life, remind yourself that calmness is a choice, not a condition. You can choose to remain centered even when others lose control. You can choose to listen instead of argue, to understand instead of react. This choice gives you power, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that liberates. When you no longer depend on external situations for your peace, you become unshakable. The calm person does not live without problems. They live above them. They do not drown in emotion. They navigate. Like a mountain standing still while clouds move across its peak, your calmness can remain untouched by passing storms. This is not detachment from life. It is engagement from a higher place of awareness. So the breath. It is the bridge between chaos and calm, between the body and the mind, between the moment you lose yourself and the moment you return. Before you can train your mind to be still, you must learn to train your breath, because the breath is the silent thread that connects all parts of your being. When life feels heavy, when your heart beats too fast, when your thoughts become loud and restless, the one thing that can anchor you is your breathing. In every culture, every tradition, every spiritual path, the breath has been the doorway to peace. And yet most people move through life without even noticing it. They breathe shallowly, unconsciously, as if the breath were just a background process instead of the source of life itself. But when you begin to breathe consciously, everything changes. You begin to feel your mind soften, your emotions settle, and your focus sharpen. The breath is not just air entering and leaving your lungs. It is life energy, pranaki, a force that sustains every heartbeat, every thought, every movement. The breath is your teacher, always available, always patient, always reminding you to return to now. In the middle of chaos, when words fail and thoughts race, simply close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the air moving in through your nose, filling your lungs, expanding your chest. Feel the pause, and then the gentle release. Each breath says to your nervous system, you are safe. Each breath pulls you back from the edges of panic and brings you into the still center within. When your breathing is shallow, your mind becomes shallow. When your breathing is deep, your awareness deepens. Watch the way a calm person breathes, slowly, steadily, without rush. Watch the way an anxious person breathes, quick, uneven, trapped in the chest. The breath and the mind are twins. They move together. Control one, and the other follows. When anger arises, your breath quickens. When fear appears, your breath shortens. When sadness comes, your breath becomes heavy. But when you decide to slow down your breathing, to lengthen each inhale and each exhale, something magical happens. Your emotions begin to follow. It's as if your breath whispers to your body, it's all right. You can rest now. This is not philosophy, it's biology. The rhythm of your breathing directly influences your nervous system. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic response, the system of rest, healing, and calm. Shallow breathing triggers the fight or flight response, the system of stress, defense, and urgency. The difference between panic and peace is often just a few breaths apart. So when you feel overwhelmed, don't rush to fix the situation, fix your breathing first. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6 and repeat. This simple act has the power to calm storms that words cannot. But the breath is more than a tool for stress. It is a doorway to present. Each conscious breath draws your attention back from the past and the future and brings it into the present moment, the only place where peace exists. You cannot breathe for yesterday, and you cannot breathe for tomorrow. The breath only exists now. So when your mind wanders into memories or worries, the breath becomes your compass, pointing you back to reality. With every inhale you arrive, with every exhale you let go. That is meditation in its simplest and purest form, awareness of the breath. You do not need candles, music, or mantras. You only need this moment and your breathing. Life itself becomes a meditation when you remember to breathe consciously. You begin to notice the spaces between thoughts, the stillness between sounds, the calm that was always there beneath the surface. The breath teaches you patience because it moves at its own pace. You cannot rush a full inhale, nor can you cling to an exhale. It reminds you that everything in life has a rhythm, effort and rest, giving and receiving, holding on and letting go. When you align your breath with this rhythm, you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. In every difficult situation, your first response should be to return to your breath. When someone speaks harshly, breathe before answering. When fear rises, breathe before reacting. When sadness visits, breathe before sinking. The breath creates space, a gap between emotion and action. And in that gap, wisdom lives. That is where calmness is born. People often think calmness is something you build over time, but it can happen in a single breath. One deep, conscious breath can shift your entire state of mind, turning tension into awareness, confusion into clarity. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you will notice that you no longer need to remind yourself to breathe deeply. Your body will remember. It will return to calm automatically because you have trained it to. The breath is the most loyal friend you will ever have. It has been with you since the moment you were born and will stay with you until your last. It never judges, never complains, never leaves. It simply asks you to notice it, to make peace with it. And when you do, it rewards you with peace of mind. There is a profound connection between breath and awareness. When you are fully present with your breath, your awareness expands. You begin to sense life more vividly. The sound of wind through trees, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat. You start to feel that life is not something happening to you, but something happening through you. You are not separate from the world. You are breathing with it. The same air that moves through you moves through everyone else, through every tree, every ocean, every living being. In that realization, calmness deepens into something sacred, a sense of unity, of being part of something larger than your personal worries. The breath unites you with existence itself. When you breathe consciously throughout your day, during work, conversation, or rest, you bring mindfulness into motion. You start to respond to life instead of reacting to it. You stop speaking from tension and start speaking from clarity. You stop moving from anxiety and start moving from awareness. And gradually your breath begins to guide your entire life's rhythm. Steady, balanced, peaceful. When you live this way, stress loses its grip. You still face challenges, but you are not consumed by them. You feel emotions fully, but they no longer define you. You move through life with an inner quietness that cannot be shaken. So from this chapter onward, let the breath be your daily meditation, your medicine, your reminder that peace is never far. You don't need to escape the world to find calmness. You only need to return to your breath. Every inhale says, I am alive. Every exhale says, I am free. The next time life overwhelms you, do not run, do not fight, just breathe. Because the calm mind is not found by searching for silence outside, but by creating it inside, one breath at a time. And when you master your breathing, you will realize that you have mastered your mind. When the next storm comes, and it will, remember this truth. The situation does not need to change for you to find peace. You can be calm while chaos moves around you. You can be steady while others fall apart. You can respond with kindness while being met with anger. That is the true power of a trained mind. Every situation is an opportunity to practice, every day a lesson in patience. Calmness is not something you wait for, it is something you create. And when you create it, everything around you begins to change. People sense it. Situations soften. Life starts flowing instead of fighting. In that calmness, you find your strength, your clarity, and your freedom. From this moment onward, remind yourself again and again, calmness is your greatest power. No one can take it from you unless you hand it over. Hold it close, breathe deeply, and let your peace speak louder than your reaction. Because in the end, the calm mind does not escape life, it masters. Detachment is often misunderstood, for many believe it means not caring, not feeling, or walking away from the world. But in truth, detachment is not indifference. It is inner freedom. It is the art of being deeply involved in life without being owned by it. It means you can love fully without losing yourself, give generously without expecting return, and face loss without falling apart. To live with detachment is to live with awareness that nothing in this world is truly yours to keep. Not possessions, not people, not even moments. Everything you hold is temporary, and when you stop clinging to what is temporary, you discover a peace that is permanent. The root of suffering is attachment, the mind's desire to control, to hold, to own. We attach not only to things but to identities, beliefs, and outcomes. We say, I want this to last forever, and when it doesn't, we suffer. We say, I need this person to stay, and when they leave, we break. But the truth is, change is the nature of life. What comes must go, what grows must fade. The wise do not resist this, they flow with it. Detachment is the ability to remain at peace amidst constant change. It is not coldness, it is clarity. It is seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. When you live with detachment, you are no longer tossed around by every emotional wave, because you understand that everything passes. Joy, sorrow, gain, loss, praise. You witness it all, like clouds drifting across the sky of your consciousness, knowing that the sky remains untouched no matter how dark the clouds become. Detachment begins when you realize that control is an illusion. You cannot control what people say, what they feel, or how life unfolds, but you can always control how you respond. The more you try to control, the more resistance you create, and resistance breeds suffering. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing peace over obsession, choosing clarity over chaos. It is saying, I trust life enough to release my grip. Think of a river. When it flows freely, it stays pure and alive. When it is blocked, it becomes stagnant and polluted. The same is true of the mind. When you cling to what should be, you block the flow of what could be. Detachment restores that flow. It teaches you to move with life instead of against it. You begin to understand that everything that leaves creates space for something new to enter. Every ending is a doorway disguised as loss. Every letting go is a preparation for growth. This truth is not easy to accept, but when you truly live it, you become untouchable by the noise of change. Love is the greatest test of detachment. To love without attachment is to love purely, without possession, without demand. It is to say, I love you as you are, not as I need you to be. It is freedom for both souls. When love becomes attachment, it suffocates, it turns into fear. Fear of losing, fear of change, fear of not being enough. True love flows like a river. It gives, it nurtures, it moves, but it never chains. Detachment in love does not mean distance. It means presence without dependency. It means your happiness is not borrowed from another person but born from within yourself. When you are whole, you can share love without needing it to complete you. And when you love this way, you bring peace instead of pressure to every relationship. The calm mind loves without holding, helps without expecting, and stays without clinging. That is the highest form of love, unconditional, free and alive. Practicing detachment in daily life begins with awareness. Notice where your peace depends on something external, maybe on someone's approval, a certain result, or the stability of your plan. Ask yourself, if this were to change or disappear, would I lose myself? If the answer is yes, then your peace is borrowed. Detachment means reclaiming that peace, bringing it back home to where it belongs, inside. It does not mean you stop caring about the world. It means you stop depending on it for your happiness. You continue to work, to build, to dream, but you do it with light hands instead of tight fists. You no longer say, I must have this to be happy. You say, I will give my best, and whatever comes, I will remain at peace. This mindset transforms the way you live. You become fearless because nothing can take your peace away. You become powerful because you no longer react to every change. You begin to see that the greatest strength lies in letting go, not holding on. Detachment also brings clarity. When you are attached, your vision becomes clouded by desire and fear. You cannot see clearly because you see only what you want to see. Detachment clears the fog. It allows you to act from wisdom rather than impulse. You begin to make choices not out of desperation but out of understanding. You stop chasing what doesn't belong to you and start nurturing what does. Detachment gives you the ability to say no when your heart knows it must, to walk away when peace requires it, and to stay centered when others lose balance. It is not a withdrawal from life, but a higher engagement with it, one rooted in awareness rather than attachment. To practice detachment, begin small. Start with your thoughts. When a thought grips you about the past, about what someone said, about what might go wrong, observe it without feeding it. Watch it as you would watch a cloud drift by. Say to yourself, this too will pass. Feel how your body relaxes when you stop resisting. Then practice detachment with emotion. When anger arises, do not become anger. Let anger pass through you. When sadness comes, do not drown in it. Let it move like a wave that eventually returns to stillness. Each time you do this, your awareness grows stronger than your emotion. That strength is calmness. That calmness is freedom. Detachment is the art of holding everything lightly. People, plans, outcomes, even yourself. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start trusting. You trust that what is meant for you will stay and what is not meant for you will go. You trust that life is not against you but guiding you even when the path feels uncertain. And in that trust you find peace. The detached mind does not cling to pleasure nor resist pain. It accepts both as teachers. It walks through life with open hands, open eyes, and an open heart. It is neither enslaved by desire nor broken by loss. It remains steady, grounded, and at ease. So let this truth sink deep into your heart. Detachment is not about leaving the world. It is about living in it freely. It is not about closing your heart. It is about opening it without fear. It is not about feeling less. It is about feeling fully without drowning. The calm mind does not escape emotion. It embraces it, understands it. Go. To detach is to return to your true nature. Peaceful, complete, and free. And once you learn this art, nothing can shake you because you will have discovered the secret of lasting calmness, the ability to love, live, and let go all at once. Patience is the silent strength of a calm mind, a quality so soft that it is often mistaken for weakness, yet so powerful that it can move mountains. In a world that glorifies speed, urgency, and instant gratification, patience is the forgotten art of waiting with peace, of trusting the process without rushing the outcome. It is not just the ability to wait, it is the ability to remain calm, centered, and hopeful while you wait. Every great transformation in life, whether it's the growth of a tree, the healing of a wound, or the mending of a heart, takes time. But the restless mind, driven by ego and expectation, resists this truth. It demands results now, answers now, peace now. Yet calmness is born only in those who understand that time is not an enemy but a teacher. Patience teaches you to surrender to the rhythm of life, to flow instead of force, to trust instead of control. When you rush, you push life out of balance. When you wait with awareness, life unfolds with harmony. The impatient mind is like a storm that uproots everything in its path. The patient mind is like a steady breeze that carries seeds of wisdom wherever it goes. The first step in cultivating patience is understanding that everything in life has its own timing. The universe does not work according to your schedule, it moves according to divine order. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to see if it has grown. You water it, you care for it, and you trust the unseen process taking place beneath the soil. The same applies to your dreams, your healing, and your personal growth. Patience means believing that even when you cannot see progress, something beautiful is taking shape within you. It means being at peace with not knowing when or how things will happen. The impatient mind clings to outcomes and lives in anxiety, but the patient mind lives in trust and peace. It understands that life unfolds one step at a time and that every delay carries purpose. Sometimes what feels like waiting is actually preparation. Sometimes the space between where you are and where you want to be is where strength, wisdom, and resilience are quietly. Impatience often arises from fear. The fear that things won't go your way, that time is running out, that you are being left behind. But time is not your enemy. Your resistance to time is. Every moment you spend rushing through life is a moment lost in the illusion of control. You cannot speed up the sunrise, you cannot force a flower to bloom before its season, and you cannot make your destiny arrive before its appointed time. Patience is acceptance, not passive resignation, but active faith. It is saying, I am doing my part and I trust life to do the rest. When you cultivate this mindset, you begin to live in harmony with the natural flow of existence. You stop fighting against what is and start flowing with it. That is when peace replaces frustration and calmness takes root in your soul. Patience is not only about waiting for big things to happen. It is also about how you handle the small irritations of daily life. When you are stuck in traffic, when someone speaks harshly, when plans fall apart, these are not just inconveniences, they are opportunities to practice calmness. The world is your training ground, and every delay is a lesson in stillness. The mind trained in patience does not react impulsively. It responds thoughtfully. It pauses, breathes, and acts from understanding rather than emotion. This pause is the space where wisdom lives. The more you expand that space, the calmer your life becomes. Impatience shrinks the mind. Patience expands it. It opens your awareness to see beyond the immediate and recognize the deeper flow of things. Patience also deepens your relationship. Many conflicts arise not from malice, but from a lack of patience, the inability to listen, to understand, to wait for the right moment to speak or act. When you practice patience with others, you create harmony. You give space for growth, forgiveness, and connection. You begin to see that every person is moving at their own pace, fighting battles you cannot see, learning lessons you may not understand. The calm mind does not rush people to change or demand perfection. It meets them where they are. It offers understanding instead of judgment, presence instead of pressure. In this way, patience becomes an act of love for others and for yourself. Practicing patience also means being kind to yourself. We are often impatient with our own progress, frustrated with our mistakes, and harsh with our imperfections. But growth is never linear. You will have days of clarity and days of confusion, moments of strength and moments of doubt. Patience with yourself means allowing the process of becoming to unfold naturally. It means forgiving yourself for not being there yet and trusting that you are on your way. Self-patience nurtures self-compassion, and self-compassion nurtures peace. When you stop demanding that life or yourself be perfect right now, you begin to relax into the beauty of what is. The calm mind understands that patience is not idleness. It does not mean sitting still and waiting for miracles to fall into your life. True patience is active. It involves faith, persistence, and presence. It means continuing to act with intention even when results are not immediate. The farmer who plants seeds still waters them every day. The artist who dreams of a masterpiece still paints one brushstroke at a time. The one who seeks peace still returns to silence again and again. Patience is perseverance with grace. It teaches you that slow progress is still progress, and every step forward, no matter how small, matters. When you live with patience, time becomes your ally. You begin to see beauty in the waiting, meaning in the delay, purpose in the pause. You learn to enjoy the journey instead of rushing to the destination. Life slows down in the most beautiful way, not because it changes, but because your perception does. You start noticing details you once overlooked, the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your breath, the warmth of the present moment. Patience brings you back to now, and in the now, peace is always found. So remember, the mind trained in patience becomes unshaken. It does not panic in uncertainty nor crumble under delay. It understands that every waiting season has its own wisdom. It whispers to itself, because when you master patience, you master peace. And when you master peace, you master yourself. Gratitude is the doorway to peace, the bridge between chaos and calm, the quiet shift in perception that transforms ordinary moments into blessings. To train your mind to be calm in every situation, you must first train it to see what is already good, already enough, already beautiful in your life. Gratitude is not a mere habit of saying a thank you. It is a way of seeing, a way of living, a way of being present. It is the awareness that even in the midst of struggle, something within this moment deserves your appreciation. Most people search endlessly for reasons to be happy, but the wise know that happiness is not found in having more. It is found in noticing more. The restless mind focuses on what is missing. The calm mind focuses on what is given. Gratitude shifts your attention from lack to abundance, from fear to trust, from frustration to peace. Every time you say a thank you, not just with words but with sincerity, you reprogram your mind to see the light even in the darkest situations. You stop waiting for life to be perfect before you feel joy, because you realize perfection was never the goal. Presence was. Gratitude begins when you learn to slow down. The mind that rushes through life overlooks its miracles. The sunrise becomes just another morning. The laughter of a loved one becomes background noise. The food on your table becomes routine. But when you pause, breathe and truly see everything change, you realize how much you already have: the gift of breath, the beating of your heart, the ability to think, to feel, to love, to grow. Gratitude turns these simple truths into profound realization. The calm mind knows that peace is not found by adding things to life, but by appreciating what is already there. Even the challenges you face become teachers once you view them through the lens of gratitude. Every difficulty carries a hidden blessing, a lesson that shapes your strength, deepens your wisdom, and reminds you of what truly matters. Gratitude transforms pain into purpose and loss into understanding. When you can look at a storm and say a thank you for what you are teaching me, you have already begun to master calmness. The restless mind always asks, "Oh, why me?" The grateful mind asks, "What is this teaching me?" That simple change of question opens a world of peace. Gratitude does not deny pain, it redeems it. It does not ignore the negative, it balances it. It does not mean pretending everything is good. It means seeing that even within the bad, something good remains. When life feels heavy, gratitude lightens it. When life feels uncertain, gratitude grounds it. It reminds you that no matter how much changes around you, there is always something within you that you can be thankful for. The breath you are taking now, the lessons you've learned, the resilience that has carried you this far, these are not small things. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what you have lost to what you have gained, from what you cannot control to what you still can. And that shift is where calmness lives. Practicing gratitude is a powerful mental exercise, one that strengthens your ability to focus on peace rather than chaos. Begin each day with a moment of reflection, not on what you need, but on what you already have. Whisper softly to yourself a thank you. Thank you for this morning. Thank you for this chance to begin again. Thank you for the lessons, even the hard ones. Gratitude does not need to be grand. It thrives in simplicity. It could be a thank you for the warmth of sunlight, the kindness of a stranger, the quiet of the night. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until your mind automatically looks for the good in every situation. You start to realize that gratitude and anxiety cannot exist in the same space. One always dissolves the other. The moment you become grateful, fear loses its power. You begin to respond to life rather than react to it, and that is the essence of calmness. Gratitude also has the power to heal relationships. When you focus on what people do wrong, you build walls. When you focus on what they do right, you build bridges. The calm mind does not dwell on flaws, it acknowledges efforts. It says, "I see your kindness, I appreciate your presence, I value who you are." Gratitude creates connection, and connection creates peace. Even in moments of conflict, expressing appreciation softens hearts and opens doors to understanding. Gratitude turns criticism into compassion, complaint into conversation. It reminds you that love grows where appreciation is expressed. In the silence of gratitude, egos dissolve, and what remains is humanity, simple, honest, peaceful. The same is true for how you view yourself. So many people live in turmoil because they constantly compare, criticize, and condemn themselves. Gratitude reverses this inner war. It teaches you to honor your journey, to recognize how far you've come instead of how far you have left to go. When you wake up and say, "A thank you for my body," you begin to treat it with care. When you say, "A thank you for my mind," you stop overburdening it with negativity. Gratitude turns self-doubt into self-respect. It allows you to see that you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. Every mistake you've made has brought you closer to wisdom. Every challenge you faced has revealed a strength you didn't know you had. Gratitude lets you rest in that truth, and rest is the foundation of calmness. To live with gratitude is to live in the present. You cannot be grateful for yesterday's blessings if your mind is trapped in regret, and you cannot feel today's beauty if you are worried about tomorrow. Gratitude anchors you in the now, the only place where peace exists. When you are fully present, you realize that this moment right here is enough. You don't need to chase more, you need only to notice more. Gratitude turns the ordinary into extraordinary by simply drawing your attention back to what matters. The calm mind is not one that has more, it is one that appreciates more. Even in silence, gratitude speaks. It whispers to your soul, "All is well." And when you listen deeply, you begin to believe it. You start to see that no matter how difficult life becomes, there is always something to hold on to, some glimmer of grace that reminds you you're alive, you're learning, you're growing. Gratitude does not promise that life will always be easy, but it promises that you will always find light even in darkness. The more you practice it, the stronger your calmness becomes, because gratitude rewires your entire being to look for peace first, to seek balance, to trust life's timing. So let this be your daily reminder. Gratitude is the foundation of a peaceful mind. Every thank you is a seed, and when you plant it often, your inner world blossoms into serenity. When you wake up, say thank you. When things go right, say thank you. When things fall apart, still say thank you. Because gratitude is not a reaction, it is a choice. And when you choose gratitude, choose calmness, contentment, and joy, no matter the circumstance. Gratitude turns every moment into a prayer, every breath into a gift, and every day into a miracle. Forgiveness is the highest act of peace, the purest expression of strength, and the most powerful tool to calm the storms within. Many believe that forgiveness is something we do for others, a gift we give to those who hurt us. But in truth, forgiveness is something we do for ourselves, to set our hearts free from the weight of pain. Holding on to anger, resentment, or betrayal is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It is carrying a burning coal in your hand and wondering why you are the one who is hurting. The calm mind understands that forgiveness is not weakness, it is liberation. It does not erase the past, but it releases its power over you. It does not mean you forget what happened, but it means you no longer allow it to define who you are. Forgiveness is not the denial of pain. It is the acknowledgement that you deserve peace more than you deserve to hold on to suffering. When you forgive, you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your freedom. You begin to live in the present rather than being imprisoned by the past. Forgiveness is not about changing the other person. It is about transforming yourself. Every hurt you carry is like a stone in your heart. One stone may not feel heavy, but over time, as you collect more, the disappointments, betrayals, regrets, and injustices, your heart becomes weighed down, unable to move freely. Forgiveness is the act of putting those stones down one by one until you can finally walk lightly again. The calm mind knows that healing is impossible without forgiveness. You cannot find peace while holding on to bitterness. You cannot live fully while your mind keeps replaying old wounds. The past is a teacher, not a prison, and forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door. It begins not with others, but with yourself. So often we are harsher with ourselves than anyone else ever could be. We replay our mistakes, punish ourselves with guilt, and expect perfection. But self-forgiveness is the first step toward inner calm. It is saying, I did the best I could with what I knew then. Now I know better and I choose peace. When you forgive yourself, you stop fighting your own reflection. You stop living in the shadow of shame and start walking toward the light of growth. Forgiveness does not happen in an instant. It is a process, slow, sometimes painful, but always freeing. The mind may resist it because it believes that holding on to anger gives you power, that it protects you from being hurt again. But anger is not protection. It is a prison. It keeps you chained to the very thing you wish to escape. When you forgive, you do not condone what happened. You simply release your attachment to the pain of it. You stop waiting for the past to change and start allowing your future to begin. Each act of forgiveness is a quiet revolution within the heart. It says, I will no longer let what hurt me control me, and with that, the energy once spent on resentment transforms into strength, compassion, and wisdom. The calm mind approaches forgiveness with understanding, not judgment. It sees that people act out of their own pain, their own fears, their own limitations. This does not excuse their actions, but it helps you see them with compassion instead of hatred. When you understand that everyone is fighting unseen battles, your heart softens. Forgiveness becomes easier not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. The calm mind asks, what can I learn from this? Rather than a why did this happen to me? Every wound holds a lesson, and when you learn it, the wound loses its power. Forgiveness transforms your perception. It turns enemies into teachers, pain into wisdom, and endings into beginnings. You begin to realize that every hurt you endured was shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, more awake. Practicing forgiveness does not mean allowing people to hurt you again. It means setting healthy boundaries with a peaceful heart. You can forgive and still walk away. You can release resentment without inviting someone back into your life. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It means release. The calm mind understands this balance. It knows that peace is not found in pretending everything is fine, but in accepting what is and letting go of what no longer serves your soul. When you let go, you create space for new energy, new relationships, and new beginnings. The mind that forgives becomes light. It no longer carries the noise of old pain. It becomes clear, calm, and free, like a river that continues to flow no matter how many stones it encounters. To cultivate forgiveness, begin by acknowledging your pain honestly. Do not suppress it or hide it. Feel it fully, but do not become it. Write down what hurt you, what you wish had been different, what you are still holding on to. Then ask yourself, is holding on helping me heal? The answer will always be no. Healing begins the moment you decide that your peace is worth more than your pride. You may need to forgive again and again, each time a little deeper, each time a little freer. That is the nature of forgiveness. It unfolds in layers like the petals of a flower. One day, you will realize that the person or situation that once brought you pain no longer has control over your emotions. That moment is freedom. Forgiveness also means forgiving life itself. Sometimes we hold resentment not toward people, but toward circumstances, the job we lost, the love that ended, the dream that failed. We ask, why did this happen to me? And cling to the unfairness of it, but life owes us no perfection. Everything that happens, even the painful things, happens for our evolution. The calm mind learns to forgive life for not going as planned, and in doing so it finds harmony with what is. You stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. That is the essence of peace, acceptance without resistance. Forgiveness is the medicine for a restless soul. It quiets the noise of the past, softens the heart, and opens the door to love. You cannot be both bitter and peaceful. One must give way to the other. When you choose forgiveness, you choose freedom. You reclaim your energy, your smile, your calm. You begin to see that every act of forgiveness is not the end of something, but the beginning of your healing. The calm mind understands that forgiveness is not something you give once. It is something you live every day. It is a way of walking lightly through the world, free from the chains of yesterday. So forgive, not because they apologized, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Forgive others for what they couldn't see. Forgive life for what it took away. Let your heart unclench. Let your soul exhale. The calm mind does not dwell in old pain. It transforms it into wisdom. And when you forgive completely, you discover that peace was never something to be found. It was something to be remembered. Forgiveness is that remembrance, the return to who you truly are, whole, free, and eternally calm. Self-awareness is the foundation of inner calm, the mirror through which you truly see yourself beyond the layers of identity, reaction, and habit. Without awareness, the mind becomes a wandering traveler, lost in thought, pulled by emotion, and trapped in the endless loops of desire and fear. But when awareness awakens, clarity emerges. You begin to see not only what happens in your life, but how you respond to it. You begin to understand your patterns, your triggers, and your unconscious conditioning. Self-awareness is not judgment. It is observation without distortion. It is looking inward with compassion rather than criticism, curiosity rather than condemnation. The calm mind is born from this awareness, the ability to notice thoughts as they arise, emotions as they move, and impulses as they fade, without being enslaved by any of them. To know yourself is to begin freeing yourself. It is to realize that peace is not achieved by controlling the outer world, but by understanding the inner one. Every thought, every reaction, every feeling is a doorway into deeper understanding, and self-awareness is the key that unlocks those doors. The untrained mind moves through life unconsciously, reacting rather than responding. It is pushed and pulled by circumstances, saying, "They made me angry. This situation stressed me," or "a life is unfair." But self-awareness reveals a greater truth. Nothing outside of you has the power to disturb you unless you allow it to. The real cause of turmoil is not the event itself, but your interpretation of it. When awareness grows, you start noticing the gap between what happens and how you react. In that gap lies your freedom. The calm mind lives in that space, choosing conscious responses over automatic reactions. You begin to pause before speaking, to breathe before acting, to reflect before judging. Compassion grows naturally from awareness, and with compassion comes calmness. The more you understand yourself, the more you understand humanity. You begin to treat others with patience, to listen more deeply, to forgive more easily. Each time you choose to release the resentment, even a little, you lighten the burden you carry. The calm mind practices forgiveness not once, but continuously. It becomes a way of living, a choice to free yourself from the emotional debts of the past. Each act of forgiveness is a step toward greater calmness. And as forgiveness becomes your habit, peace becomes your nature. The world will not change overnight, but your inner world will transform profoundly. Gratitude dissolves comparison, for you stop measuring your life against others and start embracing your unique path. It softens pride, dissolves envy, and nurtures humility. Gratitude turns every ordinary experience into a meditation of peace, every breath into a prayer of thankfulness, and every day into a celebration of being alive. Others will not always meet your expectations, understand your pace, or respond as you hope. Impatience with others creates friction, but patience builds harmony. When you listen with patience, you hear not only words, but emotions.